This video, I'm going to be showing you the truth about the event, the Great Solar Flash and Ascension, that is so often misinterpreted by people. I'm going to show you a new perspective about it and exactly what you can do so you don't miss the boat. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you that of the truth about the event, the Great Solar Flash and Ascension. And these are going to be things that I learned from experience, okay? And when I say this, understand that I'm saying it from a perspective of understanding how reality works in general, how sometimes we get these ways of interpreting reality that we think are quite literal. However, many times they may actually be literal, but also there may be an infusion of our perspective and our belief system about it that gets overlaid with reality itself. So this is, I'm going to share with you a little bit about how I come to understand this and kind of what I went through when I was going through the Ascension process. And it's, Ascension is, by the way, something that's happening like all of this lifetime in general. We are ascending our vibration as a collective consciousness. And back in 2012, I thought Ascension was going to be like this momentary flash where we're all here one moment and then there's a lot of people that are asleep, there's some people that are awake, but all of a sudden it like jolts us and we go into a new state of consciousness and we're existing in higher dimensional states of consciousness. I'll be honest, I thought it was quite a literal thing because when I was meditating, I was getting information on that. There were millions of people on the planet that also thought the same thing. And what happened is I thought that that's the way it was going to happen. It was going to be more of this sudden shift where on like December 21st, 2012, it's like all of a sudden we're in a completely new timeline. And in a way we are. The paradox of it is that we really are on a completely new timeline because we're always shifting through the different parallel realities depending on our vibration as a collective consciousness. However, we do it so flawlessly that we really don't even know we're doing it. It's just that we have these expectations a lot of times that it happens in a certain type of way. So back in 2012, I went through the spiritual awakening process. Prior to that, I had ADHD. I couldn't focus very much. I was working a 9-to-5 job at Nordstrom's and women's shoes. And I was feeling a lot of resistance because I couldn't meditate, or no, because I had ADHD, and then I learned meditation. Meditation is what really changed my life because then I learned how to observe my thoughts from a neutral place. And I started to disengage almost from the avatar ego we have, and I was able to observe it and see it for more of what it was. And that's when I started to tap into the spiritual dimension in my life as well. I started to go within, started to understand things at a much deeper level. And in 2012, that's when it started. Now, in 2011, 2012, when this was happening, I was then becoming aware of the Ascension. And I was having and interpreting the Ascension as if on December 21st, 2012, there's going to be some momentary flash, and there were some pretty reckless things that I actually did because I believed that. There were things that I did that were embarrassing. There were things that I did that kind of made me look like a fool to a lot of other people, but I kind of feel like sharing it now just because it's something that happened, and I think maybe some people can relate to when you're going through the spiritual awakening process. Sometimes you get so carried away with it. The first mistake I made is I thought everyone was going to completely understand it, like in my family and groups of friends and stuff. So I go through this Ascension and I'm like sharing it with a whole bunch of people. I'm sharing it with my friends, family, and I went from somebody that was just like to party a lot, I like to drink, and then all of a sudden I don't drink anymore, I don't smoke anymore. All I do is I like to meditate, I like to do mantras, I like to go within, I like to be more about myself than I ever did before. And people were like, what's going on with Aaron? What's going on with Aaron? And then I tell them about meditation, I tell them about the Ascension, I tell them about how we're ascending and this is the most important time to be alive on the planet than ever before. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, where's Aaron? Where's the Aaron that we knew? And then I remember even telling my dad, I was like, sat down with my dad, I was like, Dad, just so you know, there's so much more to reality than you know. There's so much that's been hidden by the government and all of this stuff. And he was just looking at me like, what are you talking about? Like, I just realized how much I was overboard with like what I was saying, and I thought it was something so literal that I thought it was like my duty to wake people up because we're gonna ascend no matter what. So who cares if they just don't get me for like a month or two or like 6 months or whatever it is, because eventually it's like they need to know about this. So the reason I share all this with you is because sometimes what happens when we go through the Ascension, or we're waiting for the event to happen, which is the event is something, I'll kind of explain all three of these as well, but the reason I'm sharing these is because everything I'm going to share today, first off, let me share the event is this thing that many people are waiting for, that has to do with a couple different things. It has to do with government information coming down to understanding how things are controlled, and understanding that we as a collective have the power. Disclosure is a part of the event, some type of event, and then maybe disclosure happens right after it. There's some debate as to how that happens. And then the event also has to do with some type of Nasara funds that are going to be redistributed to people. And I'm not saying that any of this can't happen, by the way. I'm just explaining what they are. And then what I'm going to do is explain it to you from a new perspective that maybe you haven't heard before. So when it comes to this event that a lot of people are talking about, it's like money that's being redistributed, like technology that's been suppressed for hundreds of years is going to be like released, and information on that's going to come out so that we can start to create things much more efficiently without polluting the environment. There's many different levels to the event, and then there's also the Great Solar Flash, which is the sun is a generator of energy, and as the sun transforms, we are transforming as well. The sun influences our DNA, it influences us as a collective, and the Great Solar Flash is these flashes from the sun that have been happening, but the Great Solar Flash is this crescendo of a Great Solar Flash that happens that then changes the consciousness of the planet. Now, all of these things are things that I think can happen. However, this is what I believe about the events now more than ever. Everything I just shared with you, the Ascension, which is a raise in vibration, which some people think it's like we're going to raise into 5D consciousness as if we're going to leave the planet and go somewhere else, or the event where it's like this momentary thing where something happens and it's like we're all being aware that it's like this government on TV, there's this disclosure, there's this over here, there's this, like, as if it's going to all happen at the same exact moment. Or the Great Solar Flash, where there's this flash of energy and like we all go into 3 days of that some people say there'd be like 3 days of darkness where we're just like absorbing light, or the technology goes out or something like that. I don't really know exactly what is entrailed with that, but the truth about all of this is that I believe now more than ever it is a powerful metaphor. It's a powerful metaphor that we use, that we can relate to and transform our own life. So what do I mean by a metaphor? Well, ascending your vibration, we think of as literal, like we're going to ascend into a new dimension and not be in the 3D anymore. And I think the reason a lot of people wanted that to happen in 2012 as well is because we wanted to escape. You know, many of us weren't understood by people, so we felt this resistance, and we wanted to get out of the 3D reality of all the pain and suffering in the news and all of this stuff. And one way to do that is to really look towards the future and like, well, what if I could just leave and not have to do anything? And but it's more of a metaphor. It's a metaphor. As the ascension on the planet, the raise in vibration happens, we are raising our own vibration. It is transforming our own consciousness from the inside out. But it's something we're doing in body. You see, that's the key. We're doing this in body. We're not going to leave our body and then go to some other plane of existence. But in a way, it's a paradox because we're shifting all the time. So in a way, we are shifting into higher dimensional states of consciousness but it's all happening here. Like, it's not an escape from the present moment, but it's a metaphor. And it's a metaphor for us raising our vibration rather than something quite literal. A lot of people, I think, were getting like visuals or in meditation, getting information, and they get those visuals a lot of times in metaphors. So it's like, oh, there's this wave of that hits the planet. I remember reading things like this, and people were like, oh yeah, this is what I saw in my meditation. The wave is hitting the planet, and everything was changing, and this is being broadcasted here. It's like now I see how much metaphors are powerful in our life, and how that was a metaphor of our higher mind showing us energetically what's happening, but maybe not actually literally. Maybe though. Maybe that does one day happen. I don't know. But what I'm saying is what's more powerful is understanding the metaphor and then how we can use the metaphor in our daily life. Now when it comes to the event, same type of thing. What if the event is a metaphor? Now, like, think about this. This is what I was thinking about yesterday. They say that part of the event is a lot of the money has been hoarded by a percentage of the population, not just rich people, but like the people that have controlled the government or whatever. So it's like this money that's a lot of money. It's gonna be redistributed, right? What if Now, what if it's a metaphor for the energy on the planet changing to where now I'm noticing that businesses really only succeed when they have a pure intention, when they are adding value to other people, when they are helping other people. The energy on the planet now will really only serve you if you are doing something good with it. If there's low integrity with it, sometimes things will manifest to where it doesn't happen the way we want, or something happens. You see? The energy on the planet is that now to where light workers and people that have a good intention of helping other people or doing what they're passionate about, it sustains us more than ever before. The time it takes to manifest something is speeding up. It doesn't take much time anymore because our vibration is speeding up. But what if the event of them saying the relocation of funds is actually a metaphor for the energy on the planet is here now for us to create abundance more so than ever before if we're willing to get in alignment with what that is? You see? I think that, yes, in a way it's happening, but it's more of a metaphor. I believe now that it's like, I see so many light workers and people going with coaching and doing different things, and they're going for it. You know, I'm in with my buddy Victor right now in Las Vegas. I live in Las Vegas. We're in Newport Beach. We've had Uber drivers, and there have been 2 or 3 Uber drivers that said they want to be coaches. They want to do this, they want to do that. That's what they're trying to get into. And it's interesting because now is the time on the planet to do that, to go with what we're passionate about. So what if that is a metaphor? What if the great solar flash that we think of as this huge flash where it takes us out for 3 days, what if that's a metaphor for a surge of energy that does change our consciousness, but maybe doesn't happen in a momentary flash? Now what if? That's all I'm saying. I think these are more of metaphors, and the reason I say that is because that makes it more powerful in the present moment. We have been conditioned as a society to look for the savior complex, to have someone that saves us. We want ETs to help give us technology or to help us with this. They've been around for thousands of years. We want all of these things to happen. However, we're waiting in the future. I remember Ascension, I was waiting for 2012. I was then waiting for the event and then waiting for the great solar flash. And what I realized is the only thing that's powerful is doing something right now in the present moment. That's what I realized. It's not empowering to be waiting for something in the future. It's powerful to be that change now. I remember when I went through my spiritual awakening, I was blessed because I was at the time, this was years ago, 2012, I was living at my mom's. And I had enough money kind of saved up to where I could just quit my job on a whim, kind of quit my job at Nordstrom's and Women's Shoes. And I said, it was getting in the way of my Sunday meditations. I was helping the collective. There'd be people every Sunday at a certain time all over the world that would help change the consciousness of the planet. And I would be working sometimes and I'd have to go to that. I was like, no, it's getting in the way of my meditations. We're going to ascend or whatever. And this is what I'm going to do or whatever. So eventually on a whim, I just kind of quit my job. It was like, I don't feel like being here anymore. This isn't conductive to my vibration. This is so 3D. And then what I did is I ended up just living and not doing, I ended up pretty much just living, and I had the opportunity where I didn't have to have a job for about 6 months. And I just went within. I was really tan. I was always in the sun. And I was always sun gazing or in the sun. It's a very spiritual time of my life. It was when everything was opened up, but I was also kind of ungrounded. But I was also waiting. I was waiting for all of this stuff to happen. It's like, I don't have to do this. I don't do this. I don't do this. But then at a certain point I realized, no, I'm meant to be. I'm meant to do something. I'm meant to help, not just kind of wait on the sidelines. And I think many people that are interested in even clicking on this video are also light workers that have a divine, this purpose to help other people in whatever way is congruent. It doesn't mean making YouTube videos, but it might mean just you doing something you're passionate about that also adds value to other people. And focusing on your own vibration and raising it. You see, here's the thing about that. We must realize that we are the event. We are the ascension. We are the great solar flash. We use these things as external benchmarks, but we are that which we are waiting for. And when we tap into that, it brings it closer than ever. We start to then transform our lives from the inside out, and we're not waiting for savior, someone to save us. We're not waiting for all these things to happen, in the future. And beyond that of us waiting, I think what is even more powerful to understand is, think about this. The vibration of waiting and the vibration of having or being are two very different things. When we're waiting, we create more waiting. The more we focus on time is the more time we create. So if we're like, oh, this is a great solar event in the future, in the future, in the future, right now, there's only now. So right now we're saying in the future, in the future, in the future, and we're projecting our energy away from right now instead of being the great solar flash, being the ascension or the event. We are the disclosure. We are all of these different things. One little quick thing I want to talk about real quick too is some people may have seen QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, where people's higher mind can come through. And it's by Dolores Cannon. She has 17 books that are transcripts of this process. And there's a lot of people that will be in this like deep trance state. And there's some people that will get people that are practitioners. And what you'll see is people say things like, oh, the great solar flash that's coming, or the event. The event will happen, and this is what will happen. And what I think about that, because sometimes people will watch that and go, oh yeah, there's this, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. They'll sit there and wait and wait, wait, wait. But understand that when we get information from the subconscious mind, what we look for, we find. What I mean by this as well is there is parallel realities where that has already happened. There's parallel realities where it happens in a very literal state. But whatever you are looking for, you will find evidence of. So, and also it comes through the definitions, expectations, and beliefs of the person that's either asking the questions or the person that's being in that hypnosis, in that QHHT session. So it'll pull from information of what you're looking for. If you phrase a question like, okay, can you take me into the future until when this event happens? Well, then the person that's in the QHHT is then talking about something where the event happens in a probable parallel timeline, but it may not be the one that we actually experience. It may be more of a metaphor. Do you see? The reason I say this is sometimes we get caught up in external information. We are the it's within us. Go within and see what resonates. Maybe it does resonate, and maybe it does happen. I'm not saying that like the Snasara can't happen. I'm not saying that like disclosure, it will eventually happen at some level, but will it be one momentary event? I don't know. Will it be some great solar flash that changes the whole planet in one moment? Maybe, I don't know. But maybe it's a metaphor for a higher vibrational energy that is here right now, that we can embody right now, and this video can be a calling for you to snap into that power and realize you are the event. You are the great solar flash. You are the ascension. You are all three of these things, and you can tap more into it by raising your own vibration, by doing your own research, by seeing what resonates with you, with not waiting anymore, with actually being. That's the way you really change the world, is by being, is by doing what you love. It sounds cliche, I know. Do what you love, follow your passion. I get it, but it's the truth. It's simple and it's the truth. When you do it, it changes everything. So the reason I shared all this with you is because I used to be somebody that was always looking to the future, always looking for some future moment that would save me from the present. I was projecting myself into the future, hoping that things would change via, something like the event, the Great Solar Flash or Ascension. But now I realize it's a metaphor, and it's about being present. It's about being here. It's not about escaping. And the more that we transform ourselves is the more we transform our friends and family in ways we don't even know. And the more that then we bring it even closer to us is by us being, instead of the vibration of waiting, instead of focus on time and creating more experience of time, focus on timing. Focus on being the change that we seek. So let me know what you think about the event, the Great Solar Flash or Ascension. Some people are asking me to make more videos on this concept, so I thought I would. Go ahead and leave comments below. Let me know what you think. Also, I have a meditation. I help you to raise your vibrational set point, which is a powerful thing we must do to experience the Ascension and really transform our lives. That's in the top description box below. This over 21 days. I think it'll change your life. Also, I'll be doing more live communities on Instagram. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, you can see it right here. I post twice a day there, plus I do live communities quite often. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the little notification gear so you can see the daily vids that I do. Other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.